Let's change that background color. That's better. Today we're looking at the Pixel P80 LED light, and I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the light to determine if it's for you or not. Let's talk about the design and build quality. The Pixel P80 LED light is made up of metal and plastic, and it feels super sturdy and robust. I actually love the way it feels. It's about 11.5 inches by 9 inches, which is large enough to really spread the light, but it's also compact and portable enough to pack up and take with you on shoots. It comes with barn doors to help you really shape the light, which is really nice, and you can take the barn doors off if you need to. The Pixel P80 LED light has an output of 60 watts, and I'll throw the specs up here while I mention the following. It's made up of 542 LEDs, 190 of which are warm white and 190 are cold white, and lastly 162 are RGB LEDs. These LEDs work together to create any kind of light that you need. You want daylight light at 5600 Kelvin? Not a problem. You want a slightly cooler white light? Easy. A slightly warmer white light? Done. And the cool thing is you can also choose between a whole bunch of different RGB colors. So you can just cycle through those, and this is really easy to do on the app and really quick. But you can also use the controls on the back of the panel or the remote to change these settings. The remote is nice to have, but to be honest, the app is so much easier and so much more fun to use that I hardly use this remote at all. Let's talk about the physical controls. On the back of the LED panel, you have the on button and an LED screen to check your settings. You can use the arrow keys and the middle button here to dial your settings in, and you can change the group and channel settings to control multiple lights at the same time. You can easily change the intensity of the light in bigger increments using this button, which goes from 0% to 1, 25, 50, 75, and 100% brightness. You can change the mode here between CCT, HSI, RGBW, and effects. That brings us to the modes. Let's dive a little deeper into the different modes that the Pixel P80 RGB LED video light has, and we'll do that using the Pixel LCS app. In CCT mode, which is correlated color temperature mode, you can basically adjust how white the light is. So like I showed you before, you can hit 5600 Kelvin to go to straight up daylight, but you can also adjust how cool or how white that light is using these sliders. And we have a magenta and green compensation slider here at the bottom if you want to adjust if there's some sort of green or magenta tint. Then we have the RGB section, which you can use to just choose any color. If you go higher up, it's less saturated, lower down, the color is more saturated. And it's really responsive. I mean, you can tap through these colors and the light changes basically instantly. Then we have the HSI section, which is really cool as well. It's similar to the RGBW. Here you can actually adjust the hue angle and the saturation value by inputting numbers if you'd prefer, which is quite nice. And you've got an intensity slider here at the bottom as well, which you can adjust. Then there are some gels here from Lee. We can look at something like the rose pink or surprise peach, fire, sunset red. Really nice to have those options. And again, you've got your intensity slider. And then we have the camera, which we looked at earlier. You can grab a color from anything. I've got this red over here. I'm just going to grab that. And my color goes back to red. And that brings us to the final mode, which is the effects mode. We have a lightning effect, which is really cool. You can use it if you are shooting a short film or a music video, and you can stick it outside a window and have, a lightning effect coming through the window. There are two different options there. There's also a cinema effect, which kind of, emulates a small flickering kind of light, which you could use if you're watching a movie. You could use it as a prop or special effect. Then you've got police sirens, ambulance sirens, and a fire engine, which is pretty cool. Then we have two RGB settings. We have one that cycles through colors really quickly, and then we have the second one which cycles through colors a little bit slower. This is quite nice for like a background, you could use it as a background light and just have your background light changing over time. We've got SOS, which flashes the SOS signal, and then we have a candlelight option as well. So some really cool modes, and the app is really easy to use, and you can jump between these modes in such a quick way, and I just love the app with this light. Let's compare this to another 60 watt light, the Godox SL60W. And this is not a panel light, so it might not be the best like-for-like comparison, but it'll give you an idea of whether or not a panel light is for you. In terms of the CRI rating, which is essentially the quality of the light, the Godox SL60W is rated at 95, and the Pixel P80 RGB LED light is rated at 97. The Pixel P80 is rated at 4,811 lumens compared to the Godox SL60W's 4,500, which means that on paper, the Pixel P80 is brighter and has a better quality light than that of the Godox. The Godox SL60W is literally only one color, white, and you can adjust the brightness to 100%. Here is an example of the Godox SL60W with a softbox as a key light, and here is the Pixel P80 as a key light. This is what they look like side by side. The Pixel P80 has a built-in diffuser, but you're not going to get the same amount of diffusion as a big softbox. That's just not possible. But if I take off the softbox on the Godox and I show you a side-by-side comparison, you can see that the Pixel P80 can still work well as a key light, even if the light isn't as soft as the Godox with the softbox. One way around that is to pop a white t-shirt or a cloth over the light to diffuse it even further. Also, you can use the barn doors to make the light more directional to avoid light spillage on the background, so that's really nice. Let's talk a bit about the price. For only $200, I think it will be difficult to find a quality light that is as bright, as light and portable, and that has as many features packed into it for less. Most of the other LED panels that are competitive in this price range either don't have the same output or are not as bright, or they lack some of the features that you get with the Pixel P80 RGB LED light. By comparison, the Godox SL60W is only $140, but that is without a light stand and without a softbox, and if you factor the cost of that into the mix, you're probably looking at about $250 to $400 depending on the stand and the softbox that you buy. So, is this light for you? Is it the best $200 light at the moment? I personally think that for $200 you won't find a better light, and I think most YouTubers, gamers, hobbyists, and even professionals who don't need massive lighting kits for their projects will find that this light more than meets their needs. If this sounds like you, then I would highly recommend checking out the Pixel P80 RGB light, and I'll leave a link in the description down below. My two biggest cons are the fact that you don't get super soft lighting with this light, but I don't think it's fair to really expect that with a panel light, so how much of a con that really is debatable. So if you need extra soft fall off with your lighting, something that is only really achieved with a big softbox diffusion, then this might not be the best fit for you. Although if you're on a budget, you could still use the Pixel P80 with a white shirt or cloth over the light to diffuse it even further. The second con is that the stand it comes with is a little flimsy. Not a big deal for me, but if you move around a lot and you need a super sturdy stand, then the stand that comes with this light might not last as long, but that's more of a con on the stand than the light itself. Overall, I think if you have a budget of around $200 for a light, it doesn't get much better than the Pixel P80 RGB light. If you enjoyed this gear review video, then you might also enjoy some of my other gear review videos up here. So go ahead and check those out, and I'll see you in the next one.